Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is going to be my own answers to the tag that I'd set a little while ago, the what would you do tag, and it's 10 situational questions essentially about kind of moviedom and certain kind of scenarios that I'd like you guys, if you're interested, to make your own video and tell me kind of how you, what decisions you would make, what picks you would have. Take this as an open tag. Please, anyone would want to do it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and kind of give me some context about why you would pick the picks that you did. This is going to be my own answers. The kind of original video where I go through the actual questions and not all the details already up. So, question one. You want to look after a cute companion for at least 1 year. Who would you pick? Now, I would pick Baby Groot out of the selection given. Purely because Groot is pretty much, you know, he's kind of independent. You don't have to worry about him causing too much trouble. Obviously, Gizmo, he can kind of turn into, he can multiply. Pikachu's got electric. Baby Grogu's got the Force. Groot is kind of, he isn't really, not going to cause too much trouble, to be honest with you, and is pretty independent. So the lack of responsibility there is what will draw me to Baby Groot. Question two, date night. Take one character on a date one evening, and who would you pick? Now, we're mentioning the character, not the actress or actor. There's 3 ladies, 3 gents, so obviously depending on what you your preferences are. For me, it'd be Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, because that Catwoman suit, let's be honest with you, that's kind of pretty much does things for most guys if you're a comic book fan. And plus, I think she's probably the least dangerous option out of the other two ladies, because Catwoman traditionally is not really a killer. I know she did kill Max Schreck in Batman Returns, but generally speaking, you'd be pretty safe unless you've kind of crossed her, I think, in that film. And yeah, obviously there is certain a kinkiness factor with her character as well. So we've got a selection of toys for our next question, and the question is, if you had to pick one of these to sort of come alive in your room at night, a la kind of Toy Story style, which would it be? Mine would actually be Barbie, and that's not for any kind of kinky reason. It's kind of like my question for the first, you know, which kind of cute companion would it be? To me, Barbie would be the least amount of hassle, purely because she's just ultimately, you know, a small human, really doesn't really have any type of special abilities. So a lot of the kind of the other toys there are all kind of action toys, and they'd obviously be kind of like cruising for a bruising, kind of wanting to fight and stuff like that. Dipsy would just be hella annoying, and the My Little Pony, I have to be honest, I'm not really too familiar with My Little Ponies, but I kind of put that on there just for something else to pick. But I guess you might have little pony poos. And then can you imagine the adult doll? I put the sex doll on there. Can you imagine how horrifying that would be if that really came to life overnight? That is purely nightmare fuel if you think about it. You know, an adult size coming towards you. They should make a horror film about that. It would be hilarious. So yeah, Barbie purely because she can kind of just do her own thing and you don't really got to worry about it. You can just put her around and, you know, keep out your hair today. Next question. You've committed a crime and your punishment is either a Jabba the Hutt slave for 5 years, or you can take your chances in one of Jigsaw's traps. This to me is the toughest question on this list because obviously neither are a good option, and that is the point. You could potentially get out of Jigsaw's trap, you know, scot-free potentially, but there's obviously the option there to either hurt yourself quite significantly or even kill yourself. Whilst Jabba the Hutt is going to be kind of horrible and disgusting, and it's obviously for a long period of time, but you'd you know, come out the other end at least of it. So I'd probably pick that one, to be honest. Because I look great in a gold bikini for starters, and yeah, as long as you kind of like kept your head down, you should be okay. So Jabba the Hutt slave for me. You're a rookie cop and it's your first day on the job. Who do you pick for a partner? You've got a selection of movie cops there. I'd go with Nicholas Angel from Hot Fuzz, purely because he's the only British police on that list. But also I think the film Hot Fuzz that he was in the whole thing was about the kind of the partnership with him and his kind of Nick Frost's character. Whilst a couple of these kind of police on this list aren't really known for partner work. Some are, but not. There are some that aren't. But I feel being a British police officer as well would be a little bit more easy than an American police officer for a start. You are stuck on a desert island for a 2-year stretch. You have plenty of water and shelter, so you don't have to worry about things like that. All you've got to worry about is your entertainment. You are given the choice of 2 films to take, 2 movies, along with 1 season of a TV show. You have a portable DVD player which you can watch these things on, and an infinite battery. But what TV show, season, and what 2 movies do you pick? So for a TV season, I'd go with Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 5. I think I would go with that because it's more episodic, so you can kind of just watch 1 episode at a time and it be more or less a kind of self-contained story. Whilst I think modern TV has more of an overreaching arc, so you can kind of, you can just spread that out a little more. Movie-wise, I would go with Fright Night because it is my favourite film, and I do find that movie very, very rewatchable, and I'll be happy to watch that many times. And then my second movie would be a 4-hour compilation movie of some of Germany's greatest porn. Because there's plenty of other ways you can kind of entertain yourself as well. Okay, so the next question is, we have a choice of 6 characters, and you are to pick 2 of them to defend you from the other 4. So which 2 characters will you pick to defend against the other 4? Now, given the choices that you'd be able to see on the screen here, I would pick Optimus Prime and Jason Voorhees. So Optimus Prime is obviously considerably larger than anyone else here, tougher, stronger. I think he'd take down certainly Conan, and then I think maybe Predator and Iron Man. Not too bad. And with Jason Voorhees, because he's kind of unstoppable, really, and I think he'd be kind of. I can't see how any one of those really, with the exception of maybe Optimus Prime, would be able to stop Jason Voorhees. So I would go with those 2, and I'd take Jason Voorhees out because he's not going to be no better at Optimus Prime than defending me. But if he's not trying to kill me, then that's the thing. I think the only issue would be Dracula here because he's obviously you need specifically things to kill him. But my strategy would be that Prime is a lot bigger and would simply be able to kind of hold Dracula down until maybe dawn. And obviously him then have to kind of deal with the sunlight. He certainly won't be, obviously Prime won't be able, or to be fair, Jason Voorhees won't be able to be influenced by Dracula's thrall and things like that. So I think Conan, Predator and Iron Man should be relatively easy to take out, and Dracula is, I think, the one causes you the most problems, but I think between Voorhees and Prime, I should be alright. Next question, The Blob versus The Thing. Now we're talking about the movie monsters on the remakes specifically. So these are both, we're talking about both modern-ish remakes, 80s remakes. Now you kind of need to know the films for this question to really kind of think about the science behind it. The Thing kind of tends to kind of kind of infect kind of its hosts and then kind of imitate them. Whilst the Blob is kind of like a huge gelatinous mass that has kind of dissolved its victims. I would think the Blob would win purely because the Thing is somewhat susceptible to fire, which in heat, and the Blob it's kind of dissolves its victim in a very corrosive acid type substance, which I think would kind of, if the Thing is kind of susceptible to fire, I think the Blob would be able to take him. And I just don't know if the Thing would be able to kind of mimic the Blob necessarily. And it is kind of based on the location where you, the viewer, are kind of, are situated. So obviously if it was in the Arctic, we know the Blob is susceptible to the cold. So that, I think, then would be maybe the Thing. But in your own location, for me, the Blob wins it. The next question, an island has been invaded by unknown forces, sorry, not US forces. The US president has been held hostage, and you are to select a team of 3 operatives from this list of 12 to go and rescue the president and take out the leaders of the invaders by any means necessary. which three out of this team would you pick to be your kind of like little team there? Now, I would pick Toby Wong from the 1997 Drive movie. Please note, I am not talking about the Ryan Gosling film. This is an action movie. Toby Wong is a kind of a martial arts master. He's proficient with firearms, but he's also slightly enhanced. He's kind of like maybe not exactly a cyborg, but he's augmented. And I think he'd be certainly the most versatile out of all the kind of the operatives you have here for kind of combat. Black Widow I would pick for my next one because I'd want to vary the team up a little bit in their skill set, and I think Black Widow would probably be the best for espionage. But she still is a capable fighter, and you know, has a lot of kind of tricks up her sleeve. You can use seduction, things like this, infiltration. So to me, she'd be kind of like probably the most valuable asset, I would actually say. And then my third one would be John Matrix from Commando. You got John Matrix and John Rambo, who are quite similar, but to me, I think if I'm thinking, you know, pure kill count, John Matrix has probably killed more people than John Rambo in a singular film. Although he did Rambo 3, there was a lot of people that died. So, but I'd go with John Matrix. To me, he's your tank. He's kind of like your blunt instrument. So I've kind of got a mix of skills there. It may be handy to have, you know, Han Solo's a smuggler, so that could also be handy. Brian Mills is more, you know, he's a bit more of a thinker. You know, Alice has got kind of augmented skills as well, as has Luke Devereaux. So there's some good choices here, but that'll be my team. Toby Wong, Black Widow, and John Matrix. Final question. You were in charge of casting a new Star Wars New Hope remake. Who would you cast? Now, in this question, this remake is happening. I know a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to make a remake. That's not the point. In this universe, this remake is happening. However, you can cast it. So you have the opportunity to at least make the best remake possible. So who would you pick? Do you know what? I would keep it as close to the original as possible. So I would pick Billie Lourd as Princess Leia, who is actually Carrie Fisher's daughter. I don't actually think she looks a lot like Carrie Fisher, to be honest with you, but I think that connection there would be nice. For Luke Skywalker, I would pick Sebastian Stan. You would have seen him as Bucky from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Looks a lot like you know, Mark Hamill, so I think he'd do a good job. And there's an actor called Anthony Imbruglia who looks a lot like Harrison Ford as well. He hasn't done as much. He was in kind of the age of Adeline as a young Harrison Ford in that. But that would be my pick for the casting of a remake of a Star Wars A New Hope. And that is the questions. So I hope you enjoyed my reasoning behind them. And I want to leave this as an open tag. I would love people to do this tag and let me know your reasons why you would make certain decisions. Obviously, this is a tag open to anyone who you like. I go through the questions in a little more detail in my previous video, but this is just my answers. So let me know what you think, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.